Hello, my name is Matt. Welcome to Big Blue Box. Okay, what we're going to do today is I'd like to build a splice support for my junction box on my 30-foot cable that goes to my telescoping video mast. And the video mast has a junction box, a really nice junction box where the splice is inside. And that splice is basically held together by lugs. So those wires are basically screwed down to a bus. When I'm in the field, I have to have this cable reliable. I cannot have it fail on me. I have had it fail on me several times. I've had soldered connections. I finally found this box, but now I don't want to take any more chances. I want to make sure that this box is going to solve my problem and that I can support this splice in the way that it needs to be done for it to last. To do that, I'm going to use a low temperature thermoplastic. There are several brands out there, but the one that I'm going to use is made by Plastics, and it's in strips. You can also find it in little beads. I've used a pair of scissors to form slots in the piece of thermoplastic that you see here. This will make it easier for me to form the thermoplastic around the Y cable. The idea is to lay this out on the cable after you've made it soft with the heat, and then form it around the cables and around the box itself. Using a meat or candy thermometer, you want to bring the temperature of water up to 155 degrees. I used a pot of water on my stove. Once the pot of water was to temperature, I transferred some of the water into a bowl, and then I submerged a portion of the thermoplastic in the water. As the thermoplastic heats, you can see it begin to turn clear, and when it turns clear, it's going to enter an almost semi-liquid state. In this state, it is very soft, and in some cases, it may be too soft. I struggled a little bit with the softness of it and getting it to do what I wanted it to do without it sticking to things. I did decide to use some wax paper as a release, and that definitely made a difference. Although the plastic was very sticky, at least it had a very long working time, allowing me to kind of get to know it a little bit and work with it and get it to shape the way that I needed it to. And if for any reason you need to just start over, you can always put the plastic back in the hot water and remelt it. Although I doubt you'll be able to make it into those nice smooth flat strips again. This being the first time that I had worked with low temperature thermoplastic, you could see that it was a little bit of a struggle for me. I had to kind of plan out what I was doing, but really I was doing it on the fly. I did cut out a piece of wax paper to try and fit the approximate size of the part that I was working on. And I also did just work on one end of the strip at a time. I did not heat and melt the opposite end of the strip in the initial attempt. Another thing I'd like to point out is that you'll notice that I had to put my hand underneath the large piece of wax paper. And that was because even though I had a piece of wax paper between the cable and the thermoplastic, I also did not want to form the thermoplastic directly with my hand in case it stuck to my hand or actually will leave fingerprints in the product with your hand if you use the tips of your fingers directly. As the thermoplastic cools, however, it does become less sticky, and actually, as it becomes completely cool, there is actually an anti-stick characteristic to it. It's almost like Teflon in its surface, so it actually does become very smooth and almost slippery. I went ahead and began to soften and heat the opposite end of the strip at this point. Once I removed the strip from the hot water, I decided to fold the ends back upon themselves to add some thickness. And because I did not need this strip to be this long, I figured the added thickness would give it some additional strength. While the thermoplastic was still soft, I chose to use the scissors to recreate the slit that had kind of been lost when I folded the soft plastic back upon itself. At this point, I wanted to reheat the strip. The plastic had cooled sufficiently that I was not able to fold it yet one more time, which is what I really wanted to do. So all I had to do was dip the end of the thermoplastic back in the hot water and allow it to go clear. And then I was able to fold the plastic back on itself one more time. And you can do this as many times as you need to. At this point, you've seen enough times of me putting the thermoplastic into the hot water, so I'm not going to show that step anymore. I'm going to just move on to showing the molding of the piece. And anytime you see the clear thermoplastic, you can assume that I've placed the plastic in the hot water to melt it to make it soft. With the slipperiness of the wax paper and also the non-stick characteristic of the cooled portion of the thermoplastic. This thing was sliding all around on me, but you know what? It's the first time I used it, and I think I could do a better job of it the next time. The nice part about it is if you just wait a little bit, it will cool to the point that the wax paper does become unnecessary. And if you work quickly at that point, you can continue to mold the plastic as it is soft enough. Here I'm cutting the plastic, etc. So it's an interesting product in that it's changing phases as it's changing temperatures. And after a few rounds of fiddling and tweaking, this is what I came up with. Now the only thing that needs to be done is to trim it up, clean it up a little bit, and install it to make it into the sort of exoskeleton that spans across that junction box so that those loads that are on the two upper wires on the Y carry past the junction box and don't go onto those lugs where those wire connections are. To do this, I use my rotary tool. It's like a Dremel, but it is not a Dremel brand. Put a cutoff wheel on it and use it to shorten the ends of the two supports on the Y cable. And you can see that I also used it to kind of reestablish that groove that I've been fighting with the scissors over and over. Trimmed off a little bit of excess material. I didn't want to take off too much material because the material is what gives it its strength. I'm not going for looks in this case. I'm going for functionality. So my cleanup was pretty limited as to what I was really trying to do. And now the final thing to do is simply to install the support using zip ties. And that way the cables will be secured very tightly to the device that I made, and it will not allow those forces to transfer into that bus. Instead, the cable will transfer the force to the support that I had fashioned and back onto the next cable on the other side of the junction box. And now just to trim off the excess zip tie ends, make it presentable, and they'd get in the way anyway if I would have left them. I decided to add two more zip ties around the center section of the junction box, just to pin down that support and make it rigid so it cannot flex. So after installing all the cable ties to support the exoskeleton form, I don't guess I'm not sure what I should call this thing. Maybe it's just a splice support. But anyway, the cable ties keep the cables firmly secured to it, and they also keep the flat strip of the support from flexing, which is where problems would be created. If it did flex, then it would defeat the purpose of what I'm trying to accomplish in carrying that load away from that bus inside the junction box. I don't want those wires to pull out, and I think with this setup. I think it'll be very difficult for them to pull out. I should certainly gain a lot of durability over my old previous and numerous renditions of Y cable splicing. And I want to thank you for watching this video, maybe a little bit longer than some of my future videos. It's my first one, so hopefully I'll be able to clean it up and make it a little bit more efficient for you on the next round. Thanks again for watching.